Hello everybody, this screencast is about how we will approach Paper 1 for the GCSE exam. Okay, so the first thing I want us to think about is what we can have control over in terms of how we approach the exam. And I want to start by talking about timings. Now we know we get 60 minutes in total for section A. We're suggesting that you allow yourself 10 minutes to read the extract, so we know this will be a 19th century extract, and then allow yourself 2 minutes for every mark. So for example, a question is worth 6 marks, you spend 12 minutes on it. If it's worth 1 mark, you spend 2 minutes on it. Now, good strategy to use. Before you even read the extract, take a look at the questions. Now there's a formula here. We know roughly what each question will be like. Questions 1 and 2 are not going to give you very many marks at all. Question 1 will give you 1 mark, question 2 will offer 2. There'll be short answer questions, they'll be testing your comprehension, your ability to pull out key details from the text in response to the question. We know that question 3 will be worth 6 marks. It's going to ask you about how language and structure are used in order to help the writer present perhaps a character or a theme or a moment in their text. And we know that question 4 will be worth 15 marks and will ask you to evaluate how effectively the writer has presented something. And we also know that for questions 1 to 3, you're going to be given specific lines to focus on for your answers, and that your answers need to come from the lines that they give you. So how might we approach the exam strategically? So I would suggest let's read the questions before we actually read the 19th century extract. So here we have questions 1 and 2. Now immediately, I'm just looking at the questions quickly, and I'm going to circle and underline the key parts of the question. I'm going to make sure that I've circled the line numbers referred to for each question, and then underlined the key parts of the question. So when I turn to the actual text, which I would do next, here's the beginning of this text that these questions refer to. And I'm immediately going to bracket off in my text, before I've even read it, note, which lines are going to be used to generate the answers for which questions. So you can see, because there's an overlap in lines, on the left I've bracketed off lines 7 to 9 for question 1, and I put a quick comment for myself, what happens to colour of liquid when it changes? So that's what I'm being asked to look for. And you'll see that I've also bracketed off up here lines 1 to 10, and that's for question 2, and I'm looking for 2 ways that tiredness affected Cornelius. We're going to do the same with question 3. Here's the question, here are my annotations. I've circled the lines and language and structure. We know question 3 will always be about language and structure, but we're looking particularly at how the narrator's feelings about Bertha are shown. So we go back to the text. Here we've been given these lines, sorry about that, so lines 14 to 25, so I bracketed off all of these lines. I've put number 3 because it's question 3, I've put L and S standing for language and structure, narrator's feelings about Bertha. Question 4 is about the whole text. I've underlined the key points, attempt to show how important it is to concentrate on a task, evaluate how successfully this is achieved. This line will always be there in the question, evaluate how successfully this achieved. So we're looking at how successfully the writer attempts to show how important it is to concentrate on a task. And I put a little note to myself here at the bottom of my sheet. So you can see my bracketing off for question 1, my bracketing off for question 2, my bracketing off for question 3, and then for number 4, just at the bottom, how important is it to concentrate on a task, evaluate how successfully achieved. Now, I'm writing this for myself, so it's fine if you're doing this yourself to use shorthand abbreviations to speed up. And the target is to try and do all of that in just 2 to 3 minutes. So that's read the questions, circle and underline the key points, and then go back to the text, which we haven't read yet, and bracket off which line numbers relate to which questions and the main focus of each question.